All right, and good evening, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of Tea with Doug G. If you don't know me, my name is Doug Gooden, and this is my show. I do it every Monday night. And y'all, this week I'm so excited because this week I am talking with one of my very good friends, Mr. Nate Scott. Nate, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Dude, I'm doing good, Can't complain. I am slightly worried about tests that I have tomorrow, but it's okay because we're gonna have fun right now. We're gonna have a good time.
Don't think about it. You don't need it.
Yeah, man. So Nate, why don't you take a second and tell the folks who you are, what you do, what makes Nate tick?
All right, yeah. Well, I'm Nate Scott. If you don't know, short for Nathan, not Nathaniel. Let's see. I'm a senior here at UGA. I'm looking forward to graduating because I'm tired of school. Having said that, I got into grad school, so I'm going right back. So I guess I can't really say a whole lot about that. What makes me tick? I love Jesus, man. I'm a big basketball guy. I try to play as often as I can. I like music too. I'm down to talk about music at any time. But yeah, that's pretty much a short list of what I do.
Yeah, man. Hey, well, look, awesome. Well, Nate, very excited to have you on. And with that, man, let's get into some questions, okay? Let's do it. So, first question, and I gotta be honest, this one kind of caught me off guard. Ben Tankersley, he wants to know: do you have us on how to make a really good hot chocolate?
Ooh, I will say that first, to make your hot chocolate with milk, not with water, is got to be step one. And then step two has got to be whipped cream. I'm all about that whipped cream, man.
Yeah.
But the main one is you got to make it with milk, man. Don't make it with water.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, all water does is it dilutes it, and we're not trying to have like a part of the taste of hot chocolate. We want full chocolate.
Amen.
Yeah, man. Well, look, awesome question, Ben, to get us started off with. Second question, Nate, pretty simple one. Favorite superhero?
Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna have to go. Ooh. I'm gonna have to go Spider-Man. I'm a big Spider-Man guy. Yeah.
I got that.
I like the Flash too. The Flash is like a really close second for me. So yeah, but I'm going Spider-Man.
Yeah, man, I got you. Okay, so real quick, since we're in the world of like WandaVision and the MCU, have you watched WandaVision?
Yes, I have.
All right. Do you have any thoughts on like the Quicksilver debacle of whether or not Evan Peters is actually from? If you haven't seen WandaVision, I'm sorry. Like we're on week 8 of this. But do you have any thoughts on whether or not Evan Peters is actually X-Men Quicksilver or MCU Quicksilver? Any thoughts on that?
So we all know that Marvel is owned by Disney, and Disney is the supreme lord of the world, right?
Yes.
So Disney recently bought the rights of X-Men to be able to have it in their movies now in the MCU. So I'm going to say that he's the X-Men Quicksilver because this is going to be the way they're going to like join in the X-Men into the MCU. And I think Disney's like playing chess out here. You know what I'm saying? So I think he's X-Men.
Yeah, man, I got you. I'm of the same mind right there. Yeah, man. All right. Well, next up, now, Nate, you said off the bat, you're a big sports guy, big basketball guy, and I have a question for you. This is something that I think about all the time. What, in your opinion, is the best version of basketball to watch? Is it pro, collegiate, high school, or another that I'm not thinking of?
Okay, so I guess I'll break it down. I would say that if you're in terms of like the best of basketball, like the best quality, the best skill, the best athleticism, all that is definitely the NBA. For sure, I think the NBA players are just head and shoulders. I can't think of the phrase above everybody else. But college, I don't know. I feel like everybody's more excited and more pumped up in college. Because it means more. Because they're not like pros yet, and so there's still like a whole bunch of school pride and like rivalries are like a big thing that are lasting before you and will last after you, regardless of who's on the team. And so I think there's just something really hype about college basketball, especially growing up in North Carolina, where Duke and UNC are king over there. Like I definitely appreciate college basketball, and I think if you're watching it for like the spirit and like to get hype and to see kids like give a lot of effort, I'm all for college. But when it comes to just straight up like basketball skill, the NBA is way above everyone else.
All right. I got you. And on the note of the NBA, this is actually a question I meant to throw in here and I forgot because I'm an idiot like that. I think I know where you land on this argument because I think we've had it plenty of times. But Michael or LeBron?
Ooh, yes, I am on the LeBron train. I'm sorry to all the Michael fans out there. I
Hey, it's
do
okay.
recognize.
Hey, Nate, look, man, everyone's entitled to be wrong.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, Doug. I will say that I'm not upset when people say Michael Jordan is the greatest player of all time. Like, I mean, Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. I'm not going to disrespect him. I just feel like, I know for me, I can't watch LeBron. Again, I didn't grow up watching Michael Jordan either, and I've grown up watching LeBron. So I'm definitely on the LeBron hype train. But if somebody says Michael's the greatest player of all time, I don't go, you're wrong. I'm like, I mean, that's a respectable answer. Just don't throw something crazy out at me out there. Like don't say Larry Bird is the greatest player of all time. I'm like, okay, calm down.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, I got you. All right. So, you kind of brought up you grew up in North Carolina, kind of the college basketball triangle right there with Duke, UNC, and NC State, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, a question my dad actually wanted to ask. One of those schools, Duke in particular, has been struggling a little bit this year. And my dad, Doug Senior, he was wanting to know thoughts on the one and done schools like Kentucky and Duke. They're really struggling to compete in this season.
Yeah, I was actually talking to my granddad about this the other day. I think Kentucky is struggling right now because breaking down basketball, they have a lot of great talent on the team, but they don't really play like as a team or like play cohesively, like as a unit. They kind of just seem all over the place, and they have like no organization or anything like that. And so I think that Kentucky's really struggling because they just don't have a game plan right now. And then when it comes to Duke, I have much respect for Coach K as much as I hate Duke because I am a UNC fan. I grew up at Tar Heel. I hate that school, but I got to say Coach K is one of the best college basketball coaches to ever do it. And, he had it seemed like he wasn't sure where he stood at the beginning of the season on whether they should play due to the coronavirus. And then like halfway through the season, he's kind of been like, I don't think we should be playing. And I understand that Coach K is like 77 or something like that. And I get his concerns. And I just think that because he wasn't sure and then he says they shouldn't even play, I feel like their players are kind of lost right now and they're focused on things outside of basketball, which is 100% respectable. Coronavirus is a serious thing. But I just think that they're not playing good basketball right now because basketball seems to come second to them right now. So.
Yeah, and I gotcha. Now on that, one of the things that's been brought up that we've talked about a couple times on this show is, in light of the interesting dynamics and changes to sports as a whole that have been made because of COVID, there has been this kind of debate going on as to whether or not this season should even be counted on players' records or anything like that. Do you have any thoughts on that issue?
I 100% think this season should count. I don't know if you are willing to go out there and play, then I think it should count. I don't think we ever want to play for nothing, I know as a player, I don't ever want to compete for no reason. I play to win, and I think my win would matter, and I think they feel the same way. And as a fan, I don't think that the Lakers last year when they won down in the bubble in Orlando, I don't think that doesn't count. I don't think what the Dodgers did in baseball doesn't count. I think that they went out there, they competed, and they had the same circumstances as everybody else, and they were able to win. So 100%, I think it counts.
Yeah, man, I got you, and I tend to agree with that as well. I mean, I think, and you touched on a really good point. If you're not playing for anything, then why play?
Right.
Yeah. All right. So another question that my dad sent in, because my dad's usually my sports questions guy. He wanted to know what are your thoughts on college athletes and whether or not they should be paid for the use of their image. I know this is coming up really fast right now because of they just announced that the NCAA games are coming back. But what are your thoughts on this?
I will say I understand that it's complicated and that it would be extremely hard to regulate. But I am of the belief that athletes should get paid for their image. Again, I don't really know how you would work it all out because I understand that's a very complicated situation, but I've watched a few documentaries on it. And I also used to work for the nutrition department at the football team here in UGA. And there are a lot of guys that and girls for that matter too, but there's a lot of guys that just come from nothing and they don't have any money and they don't have any money for their family either. And they're playing, hoping to punch their ticket to the league so they can get out of the ghetto and get out of the slums they were in and also get their family out. And I think the sooner they can do that, the better for them. So that's why I support it. Again, I understand that it would be really hard, and I don't say don't come to me expecting me to know how in the world you're supposed to write legislation for that at all, because I would be lost. But I think in some way, shape, or form, I think they should be able to make money off their image.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Oh, my bad. But especially like in the age of social media and stuff, like I don't know if like a 16-year-old, we're talking about Charlie D'Amelio, can go on TikTok and make millions of dollars because she dances to other people's music. I don't know. I feel like then college athletes with tons of social media doing and like working out every day and working hard should be able to do the same thing. So I don't know. I think they should be able to use the resources available to them.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a fair assessment on that. A follow-up question on that, and this is something that I came into a lot while working at the bookstore for UGA. Yeah. Do you think that team merchandise should be sold with players' names and numbers? Because as of right now, official merchandise can't be sold direct to consumer with any sort of customization like that. You have to kind of go through back channels to get it. What are your thoughts on that?
I guess I like that they're not allowed to put their names in the back of the jerseys. I think if they are, then they could like come to agreement maybe with like a small compensation from those jersey sales, like on a school by school basis, I guess, would be able to be given to those players in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like it's not. I don't think like schools retire numbers too often or anything like that, and so I just feel like, I mean, somebody's going to come in the next year. Like Sony Michel was number 1, and then Justin Fields came in the next year and didn't even stay with us, and he was also number 1. So I just feel like they're just going to give it to some guy the next year anyway, regardless of how great of a player you are. So, I mean, yeah, and I kind of like the just iconic feel of like you have to know who that guy is that I'm wearing, and like you have to be a fan with me to like know who I'm talking about. So.
Yeah. I think that's also a really good point. All right, so Nate, kind of closing the chapter on this basketball segment that we're talking about. I gotta know, because I don't know if I've told you this or really anyone this, at least on here, but Nate, I'm in the middle of watching 100 movies that I've never seen in the course of a year. I'm 36 movies in right now. And the last movie that I watched was Coach Carter.
I was hoping you were going to say that. Oh my God.
I had never seen it all the way through. I'd seen bits and pieces, but yeah, quality film. But Nate, it made me want to ask you, what do you think is the best basketball movie? We have a lot of football movies, but basketball movies are kind of a more niche market.
Right. So I would say that when it comes to basketball movies, I haven't watched it. I've watched a couple of football movies, obviously being from the South. But being a basketball player and a basketball fan, I've watched more basketball movies. I think there's way more adult basketball movies as well. I feel like football movies tend to be more family friendly, and there's a few really good basketball movies out there that are not like kid friendly at all and like rated R. I would say that my personal favorite, and I just all around, regardless of categories, got to be Space Jam all the way. Space Jam is a basketball movie. You got Michael Jordan, you got cartoons all in one. You can't beat it. And but I will say Coach Carter is my second favorite basketball movie. And then I would say that He Got Game, also with Ray Allen as Jesus Shuttleworth, is a phenomenal film, also with Denzel Washington. But all around best basketball film, definitely got to be Space Jam.
All right. I got you. Now, Nate, we've known each other for a hot second. We met freshman year in our dog pack or our small group. And Nate, one of the questions that I love asking collegiate seniors, I don't know, seniors in college is if you could go back to your freshman year and give yourself one piece of advice, what would that be?
Ooh, one piece of advice? I don't know. I know my freshman year, I told myself I wasn't going to date anybody. And I think that worked out really good for me, actually. I just said, Nate, just don't have a girlfriend. And I guess I would tell myself to stick to that. Like, hey, man, it might be tough right now, but who cares what other people are doing? This is all you, bro. Just stay single. And I even tell the freshmen now. I was like, look, man, and not that there's anything wrong with like having a girlfriend freshman year. I just feel like everything's new. You have no idea what you want to do with your life. You want to change your major 17 times. You're out with your friends till 3:00 in the morning doing nothing, like playing video games or like going to cookout. You're not doing anything bad. You're just being dumb because you have freedom for the first time. And I just think that you want to like figure out who you are in college because you're becoming more of an adult. You're away from your family for the first time for an extended period of time anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go. I'm definitely stay single. Yeah, freshman year, man. And don't try to focus on anything. Just have fun and be smart, obviously, but have fun and focus on you and discover what college has to offer.
Yeah, man. I got you. I got you. Yeah, I don't even have to give myself that advice freshman year or this year. Hey, man, look, I saw you doing it and I was like, oh, I can do that. I can do that for 22 years. We're good. Now, Nate, one of I would say one of your most famous moments in college was sophomore year when we both partook in the BCM's Mr. BCM pageant. For those of you who don't know, it's basically a male beauty pageant that BCM puts on, and everyone has to do a talent. Mine was dancing, and my music cut out, and it was really awkward. But we did it. Nate also danced, and Nate did perfectly, I might add, the Napoleon Dynamite dance, which prompted this next question. Nate, what do you think is the best dance scene? It says on film, but it should say in film.
I would say that shout out to my Uncle Paul. I don't know if he's watching this, but I know my family is, so I have to tell him. I think he would absolutely just like be disappointed in me as a human being if I did not say Dirty Dancing, the final. I just feel like I can't respect my Uncle Paul and not say Dirty Dancing, man. At the very end, that lift, I gotta say, best dance scene on film.
Dude, I completely agree. That I don't know if your Uncle Paul is watching either, but you're right. A lot of your family is in the chat. Hello to all of the Scots. But yeah, man, Dirty Dancing, high quality. Now, Nate, something that in the past year you've gotten a lot more into, you've even started your own Instagram page for it, is you've started taking a lot more photos. You've gotten into photography a lot more. And I'm wanting to know, as I'm sure a lot of other people are wanting to know, what was the big thing that made you want to get into photography so heavily?
Yeah, so it was during quarantine, and I was really bored. There was just like nothing to do. Basketball is a big thing for me, and like I couldn't go play. No gyms were open. A bunch of guidelines also prevented me from being able to go play. And I don't know. I was tired of just not having anything to do. And my dad had a really nice camera. Let me take that back. I was watching YouTube, and then I watched a YouTube photographer, and I was like, "Oh, this guy's dope." I was like, wait a second, I can freaking do this. I was like, I'm not doing anything. Let me go try it. And my dad had a nice camera that I hadn't used in a while, so I picked it up. And it was a lot of fun. Lauren, my girlfriend, her roommate is a professional photographer, so she gave me a lot of tips. I'll be honest, now that quarantine is over and I actually have like school and other things to take my time, I've slowed down immensely on what I've done when it comes to photography. And also, I've had to remove myself from social media. I just feel like I don't know, there's a lot of things going on, especially during quarantine, a lot of opinions that are being put out there with some hot topics here lately that just made me kind of shy away from it. So that's why I haven't posted anything for a while. But I've taken pictures of my brother playing basketball a few times. I've also taken a few videos, but really haven't, I guess, posted them online anywhere. But it was mainly just something to do, like a quarantine activity that was fun. I thought it was really stimulating, and it was like challenging because I never edited photos before. Having to figure out how to manually shoot on a camera was really hard for me. And it was just something that was new, something that took up time and that was actually enjoyable. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I got you, man. During quarantine, I started a talk show. So we all had to start something. But yeah. Well, Nate, one of the things that I know you took up a lot of your photography was you were very intent on covering a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests that were happening during the summer. And when I asked you, if there were any topics that you wanted to talk about today, I know that race was an issue that you really want to discuss. And one of the questions that I've actually gotten before, but I'm curious of your take on it, is in this new current sort of civil rights movement that we're seeing, do you think that we'll see any central leaders of the movement arise, similar to Dr. Martin Luther King or Malcolm X? What's your take on that?
Yeah, I will say that I don't know. I hope this isn't a pessimistic view of things, but I don't think there'll be any like central leaders arise, mainly because of like social media and how connected we are with Twitter and just Instagram and Facebook, and then also our broadcasting networks, CNN, Fox, and all of them. They like can go everywhere, and they're like their voice can be heard by anywhere in the world at any time. And I think because of that, there's a lot of opinions that get thrown out there, good and bad, for that matter. And
Yeah.
I think that because of that, it will be really hard for like one person to have like a central voice that will like arise and like speak some sense into everything going on. Because I think that is really easy for a lot of people to have a voice. And I think also because of social media and just media in general, like technology has certainly grown way more than we ever thought it would. Like a lot of people can become really famous really fast and for a short amount of time. And so I think a lot of people, we have a tendency to be really focused on one issue or one topic or one person. And then, a month, we just forget they were even there. And so I think it'll be hard for somebody to have one person to arise. And if one person does, I think it'll be really hard for them to like be sustained as a leader, because it's just our attention spans aren't that long anymore. And everybody has a voice now. So,
yeah. Yeah. And kind of going off of that, we have seen, not just in the past year, but over the past several years, that attention span growing shorter and shorter. So one of the questions that I was wanting to ask, do you think that we as a society have outgrown subtle social justice narratives? And what I mean by that is, do you think that we've gotten to a place where we see so many travesties take place, so many, for lack of a better word, just horrific things happen to marginalized groups? Do you think that we've become so numb to it that any sort of subtlety that addresses it kind of just falls to the wayside? Or do you think that there still is room for that in the public consciousness?
I don't know. That's a hard question, I'll be honest. I definitely think there's still room to see I think there will always be people that want to do good. I think there will always be people that want to, make the world a better place. I don't think that will ever go away. But I don't know. I think that a lot of times we tend to be, not only do we have short attention spans, we also tend to be very opinionated. And that's just, I guess, who we are as people, And I think that I guess we've caught the attention of something we like and we latch onto it. And then it's really hard to change our minds. And so I think a lot of these like subtle things will get shut down because it's like, oh, here we go again. Like, why do we have to talk about all this again? And we like ignore it, or like, oh yes, finally somebody's bringing this up and we eat it up immediately. And I'm like, well, we can, even if something like is trying to have a good narrative, it can still be critiqued. And that doesn't mean that, you hate it or that you don't agree with like what its purpose is at all. Just that nobody's perfect. And I think there's always room for improvement. And I think there are always people that want to do good. I think we just have to be willing to admit when we're wrong, but we have to be humble and just willing to like hear other people out and also call other people out if what they're saying or doing is just completely wrong.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, man, I gotcha. Well, kind of continuing on that train, I think one of the best things that we have seen in recent years is in the film and TV industry, we've seen a lot more at least attempts at representation for marginalized groups. Do you think that this is a trend that is going to continue, or do you think that as kind of the cultural focus maybe shifts to different issues, that trend will kind of slow down? What are your thoughts on that?
I think the trend will continue. Sometimes I question whether it's a good trend, because I think often I see it in like film and TV, like forced representation. I think I know everybody's talked about it for a while, but I didn't really have any problem with Captain Marvel, just to put it out there. I know there was a lot of feminist messages in there. That didn't really bother me that much. I just thought that at times they wanted to have representation at like the cost of making a good film or making a good scene. I don't think it was a bad film, but like there were certain elements of the film that could have been like much better, but they like wanted to send a message and they kind of sacrificed the quality of certain aspects of the film to push that message. And I think that
Yeah.
you don't really have to do that. I think that is good to have representation of people, but I think it's also important, like media, I guess the way I look at it is art. And so I don't think your art should ever be sacrificed for representation.
Yeah, it's like that fine line you walk between tokenism versus actual representation
Yeah.
that I think people are still trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Nate, staying on this topic, because I had a lot of questions for this topic. One of the things I was wanting to know is, we've seen a lot of like you said, we've seen a lot of very outspoken people in groups in the past year with both the pandemic and also the Black Lives Matter movement picking up speed. And we've seen a lot of groups proclaim themselves to be allies for change or in support of these various movements. However, we haven't really seen, there are some of those organizations that claim that they're allies or they're in support of them, but we don't see a big change in their demeanor or in their presence. So my question is, what are your thoughts on these organizations that participate in what I'm going to call allyship for show?
Yeah. I guess going off an example of that is I don't remember what it was, but like I remember there was a big thing during quarantine. It was like Blackout Tuesday, and like everybody put like black screens on Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff, and supported everything going on. And then I don't know. And then there were friends that also came to me were like, was I wrong for not posting anything? And there were also people that I knew that like their friends called them out. Their friends got angry at them because they didn't post anything. And I don't necessarily get that. I don't think that posting something on social media or wearing a T-shirt that says BLM or whatever you want to do. I don't know. Like, I'm glad that we've raised awareness, so to speak, of things going on. But I think that now it's time for action now. I was like, I don't really care if you posted, a blackout picture on, Instagram if you still treat people differently regardless of their skin color, right? I don't think that means anything. I think there has to be action behind your words, and I would rather you not say anything and just truly have real action and just treat all people equally and with equity and the same, and like try to help those that are not being treated equally or with equity than for you to like say anything. Because I think if you do something, then you don't need to say anything. I think your actions would speak for itself. And I know that obviously race with the pandemic and everything going on, they're all very sensitive topics. And I know that I don't think there's any one thing you're going to do that's going to, solve racism. I don't think if you say, we support Black lives, all of a sudden racism goes away because you said that. That's not how that works, right?
Yeah.
More than that, if we look at it like it's an issue of the way people believe and the way they think and feel on the inside about other people, because that's really what it is. It's a heart issue. And I think more than that, as I said, I'm a Christian and everything. I think it's a sin issue. And I think that you got to be more than just say something. You got to do something. And more than that, it has to be a change that comes from within that goes out, because there's no message that you can put out. There's no speech you could give. There's no T-shirt you could wear. There's no protest or march you can go to. That's going to change the way people feel on the inside. It's just not. Those are all good things. Don't get me wrong. And like I said, I went to the protest and I was there. And like I did see people post stuff online, and I get that. I'm supporting. I'm glad that's what you're trying to get things out there, right? And I appreciate your message. But at the end of the day, like, what are you doing? Are you talking to people that think different than you? Are you interacting with people that don't feel the same way as you? And are you having just genuine, real conversations with them to understand them and like to humanize them as well, even if they think wrong, and even though they are in the wrong, like, you still got to help change somebody from the inside out, because no speech you give, as great as Martin Luther King's speech is, and it feels great and empowering, like there were still people like that didn't believe him. We know, because he got killed.
Yeah.
Like, it was a great speech. Don't get me wrong. And we play it to this day, as we should, because it's great. Right, that still didn't change anybody's heart, right? Oh, it did change some people, but it didn't change everybody's heart because it matters how you think and feel on the inside. And I don't know. I believe there's only one way that you could change somebody from the inside, and that would be Jesus. But I guess that's a different topic. So,
yeah, man. Hey, well, look, I'll pull a note from Mr. James over here who said, "Yeah, preach, Nate." Yeah, I feel that, man. Amen. Amen to that. Well, Nate, dude, that is all the questions I have for us. Dude, seriously, thank you so much for coming on. Did you have a good time?
I had a great time, man. This was like really chill. I really got into podcasts as well during quarantine. Speaking of quarantine things, and I started listening to them. And then I saw you started one. I was like, bro, this is kind of dope. I was like, everybody's getting on this podcast train, you know. And so I'm excited I got to participate in one, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely, absolutely. It was great to have you. Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, Nate really came in clutch because it was like Thursday when I texted him, and I 100% did not have a guest nailed down for this week. So seriously, man, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you to really the entire Scott family because y'all blew up the chat. Yeah, no, seriously, thank y'all so much. But yeah, y'all, once again, this is Tea with Doug G. We come on every Monday night, 9 p.m. Try to keep up with things that Vire Media has coming on. We have new episodes of Saying the Skein dropping every Wednesday. Yeah, well, Nate, thanks again so much, dude. And for everyone else listening, I'm Doug Gooden. He's Nate Scott. And until next time, this has been the Tea.
Oh, I got a mug too. Sorry, we're good.
Oh, sweet. Well, let's toast real quick. That has been the Tea.
Love it.
Thank y'all so much, and y'all have a great week.
All right. Thanks, Doug. Thanks, guys. See ya.